Arturo, it's so great to meet you and be on the Resilient Teacher podcast here at FETC.
Thanks for having us. I appreciate the opportunity and I'm looking forward to our conversation.
Yeah, so when we first met, you were saying that you used to be a teacher. Tell us a little bit about your journey.
Yeah, absolutely. So I was a teacher in Austin, Texas for almost 10 years, almost a full decade. I taught mostly fifth grade, some fourth grade, some third grade, bilingual settings always. My family's from Mexico, so my first language is Spanish, and was able to take that and use my experience and my language skills, I guess you can say, to help kiddos who were in a similar situation as I was when I first came to the United States.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you did a lot of teaching. How did you end up, in the ed tech world and Pocketalk?
Yeah, so about a decade into my teaching, I went ahead and got my master's in ed tech.
Mm-hmm.
And back then we didn't call it ed tech, we called it something else. This is going back a while. So it was, I can't even think of what my actual degree is in, but it was ed tech in a sense.
Yeah.
So I was able to take that and use that degree to move up into the ed tech department, where I became more of an ed tech coach,
Mm-hmm.
helping teachers utilize technology. As we were talking about with podcasting, we did podcasting very primitively back at that point in time, but I'm amazed at all the new technology. but took that and then was able to, I became the contact for my school district for Brain Pop. So if you're familiar with Brain Pop, so then I got some contacts, made some good relationships at Brain Pop, and then went to work for them. So I was at Brain Pop for about 11 years before coming over to Pocketalk about almost 2 years ago now.
Yeah. So Pocketalk is AI powered. Tell us a little bit about what this is and why teachers should care.
Sure. And I forgot to get one out. I have one in my bag here. I can actually show it. Showing it to you usually works a little bit better. So let me reach in here while I talk about it.
Yeah.
Pocketalk is we're a translation solutions company. So we work with organizations all over the world. Particularly here in the United States, we work a lot with schools. We're in, I want to say, over 500 school districts all over the country. Schools utilize Pocketalk for a variety in a variety of settings. I can share more about those in just a minute. But we're mostly known for our device, which looks like this.
I love that we're videoing this too.
Yes, and so it looks like this. I can show you this device here. I just have it on a lanyard. Obviously, you don't have to have it on any, but what's nice about the lanyard is I can wear it and have it available for me anytime I need it. If I'm walking down the hallway or in the classroom or at the front office, it's always going to be there for me.
Yeah.
So as a translation solution company, we just believe in the idea that everybody has a voice and everybody's voice should be heard and everybody should be communicated with on as much of a level playing field as possible. So that's where we come in. The device can help you in 84 different languages.
Wow.
Yeah, so Spanish, here in the US, Spanish is obviously the number one language that we see the device being used with. And I can show you how that works. Essentially, all you do is pick the two languages that you want to work with. It doesn't have to be English. You could actually have a Spanish speaker speaking to a Vietnamese speaker,
Mm-hmm.
speaking to an Arabic speaker. It doesn't matter. You decide on the combination of languages. And once you have the two languages in place, you just pay attention to the little arrow in the middle and press the button. You start talking, the device starts listening and starts translating for you automatically. So there's the translation in Spanish.
Empiezas a hablar. El dispositivo empieza a escuchar y empieza a traducir automáticamente para ti.
And you hear the translation.
Wow.
And then as a Spanish speaker, then I can click there. Now the arrow has flipped and hablo en español y me traduce a inglés.
I speak Spanish and you translate English for me.
And it works that way.
Very cool.
So to work that way in 80 plus languages, also has a camera on the back, so it'll take pictures of text and translate the text as well and on the screen and audibly as well.
That is so cool.
Yeah.
That is so cool. I really like it. So I can think of all the use cases for this. One being, we focus a lot on teacher burnout on this podcast. And so when I'm thinking about this, I'm thinking about the teachers who want to make a difference with every one of their students, but they don't have the capacity to do that. And I mean, you could do Duolingo, right, to learn a language, but at the same time, in that moment, to actually be able to have those really productive conversations and connect, Pocketalk seems like the go-to.
That's the go-to. Yeah, I'm always amazed at what teachers try to take on, and you know, I always think of that plate and so many things being added on your plate, and then you have to spin the plate and keep multiple plates.
Multiple plates. Yes.
So when you think about it, it's just another something else that shouldn't be added to that plate. And then so many, and it just can't be, because there's so many places in the U.S. now where you might have students in one classroom, you could have students for 5 different backgrounds,
right,
5 different languages. So are you, as a teacher, going to learn all 5 of those languages?
Yeah. And can you? I mean, like,
no,
is that even possible?
It
right.
is. It's not possible. So the exciting thing about a Pocketalk is that it will give you that extra capacity. It'll lower your frustration level. You don't have to take on another burden, something else that you have to do, you know, to add to your plate. So definitely a game changer when it comes to just communicating, having those basic communications that we should all be having.
Right. And to be able to have those productive conversations in the classroom. And that has always been a barrier for students of who speak different languages, is that they can't have those really in-depth conversations about progress. Like even in the they called it ESOL, but I think they're calling it multi-language learner classrooms now. There's still a lot of barrier when it comes to that. So talk a little bit about what's happening in schools with Pocketalk.
Yeah, so in schools, so as I mentioned, we're in schools all over the country, and I kind of look at it almost geographically. So it varies. So when you think about Columbus City Schools in Ohio, they started using Pocketalk with their school nurses. And they thought, okay, we want every school nurse to have one of these, so we can have those conversations when a student comes in, and we don't, and you know, sometimes they're emergency and tough conversations, and our Pocketalk device is HIPAA compliant, so those conversations are locked down. The privacy is just totally baked into the device.
Right.
So they could be used in that sense. That's one way. In classrooms, in multilingual situations, obviously, in New York City, we have schools that have students from all over the world, and so now the teacher is able to communicate with each student in their home language.
Yes.
In Moreland School District in California, they issue these like a library book. You can check this out from the library. So think in terms of a family, actually student being able to take it home, and the family can use it. Family can even take it to a doctor's appointment and use it there, because somebody at the doctor's office maybe doesn't speak their language, and now I can actually have this appointment and make it a productive one, and not have to pull my student, who sometimes becomes the family translator.
Right.
I don't have to pull them from school for the day to take them to the doctor's office or to the DMV, or to any of those appointments that we all have to take in life.
Yeah.
So again, it can vary from very much instructional to this kind of this wraparound service, to just having those conversations in the hallways that sometimes we miss. You know, think about your school administrator that's maybe in the hallway and trying to connect with students, or when the student comes in and you're welcoming them at the front door, and you want to greet them, and until they learn English, you're kind of stuck. Yeah.
And you want them to feel welcome,
Exactly.
because I think that's one of the things that, you know, as a teacher, we take on that, as well as making, you know, our classrooms a safe and inviting space. And for students who are coming from other countries that don't speak English, that's not a safe place if they can't communicate, if they can't feel like they're welcome in their own language. And so that's a piece of a little bit of social emotional learning for teachers, for students, for all of us.
And for families. When I was here in Orlando, I went to visit they have the I want to make sure I say this correctly, the Global Family Welcome Center.
Yes.
It's part of Orange County Schools. So I went to visit them there just to see how they were using our Pocketalk devices, and it's amazing, because obviously we want to do everything we can for our students, but so often newcomer students' families feel very left out.
Right.
If nobody can speak to them in their language. And we know the student within a few weeks, a few months, they're going to kind of get that social language and they're going to be moving really quickly into English, but the families often take longer to pick up the English. So just being able to welcome a family even to a school or to a school district and let them know that we have something to help us communicate and you can come back
Yes.
and talk to us.
Yes.
Because we will be able to connect and talk.
That's true too, because making sure that the family feels invited, so you can bridge that gap between home and school. Yeah.
No,
So
totally important.
what is the difference? So I'm thinking about this, and I know that there's a teacher out there that's a little bit skeptical. They're like, my phone might can translate, or ChatGPT can translate. What makes Pocketalk a little bit different?
Sure. So it depends on how you want to use the device. So the device is very good at what it does, and it only does one thing. So I could literally hand this to a third grader.
Mm-hmm.
They could take it to the cafeteria. They could take it to recess. They can drop this thing and it'll be fine.
Right.
They can carry it with them throughout the day. They can use it in the classroom, outside of the classroom. Because that's all it does. So they can't play games on it. They can't do anything that you can't do on a phone. Phones do every other thing and every other distraction that we are trying to kind of move away from. So for a student, distraction free, and it works really, really, really well. We point to our accuracy. Our device, we think, is more accurate than a lot of the technologies that are out there, especially on apps on phones. Because we built in a really built-in mics that will pick up the audio. I was using it yesterday in the exhibit hall, and you know how noisy that exhibit hall is at FETC, and flawless. It totally picked up my voice versus all the other voices that were going on around us. So it's really the technology is really well done for accuracy, and then I always point out to security as well. So if I'm having a conversation with a parent in an IEP meeting, obviously those IEP meetings are very private, very, that's confidential information that's often being shared there.
Right.
And if you're using your phone or using Google,
right.
Where's
this going? Yeah.
We don't really know where that's going. So we recently received our iKeepSafe certification.
Great.
So we have a third-party verification that says that our Pocketalk devices do protect privacy, do protect those conversations. So we always say, if it's something that's, important that you keep it private, then stay away from your phone.
Right. And that's important for schools to think about and for teachers to think about, because there's probably a teacher out there that's like, oh crap, I have used my phone, and maybe that isn't the best way to go about that.
Right.
So definitely would recommend to any teachers who might be translating to not use their phone and to look into Pocketalk, because there's tons of different ways that they can get funding for things like this as well. What about Pocketalk's future are you most excited about?
Gosh, I think I'm most excited in general about the where we're going with that. I'm thinking a lot about technology as I'm here at FETC, about just where technology is when it comes to translation and when it comes to communication, because I think we're finally getting to the point where we're starting to feel more comfortable with using technology to help us with these translations, to help us with these conversations. I think that for a while there was a trust or a lack of confidence in the accuracy of the conversations and of the translations. So I think we're starting to turn the corner there, and we're happy that Pocketalk is leading the way there in schools and in hospitals and in other organizations where these conversations need to happen. Beyond that, we're excited about our iKeepSafe certifications. We're partnering with so many amazing partners all over the country, so many amazing districts, and we're starting to recognize them more and say, okay, you guys have done such a great job. So we have an impact award that we're giving out every year now, and making sure that schools that are going that extra mile, taking those extra steps to make sure that communication is happening with all families.
Yes.
We're starting to make sure we're recognizing them as well. So there's so many, and our ambassadors, we have ambassadors now that we've started working with. educators who again, go that extra mile and are utilizing Pocketalk to make sure that communication happens. So we're recognizing them as well. So lots of exciting things happening.
That's a lot of exciting. Last big question, the all spoken here movement.
Right.
Tell me a little bit about that.
Sure. So the all spoken here movement is the idea that we should be creating spaces where language is not a barrier anymore.
Yes.
We're including everybody. That language should not be. The technology is here to help us get beyond that.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're making sure that students or that organizations, schools, hospitals that are taking this on are sort of seeing it as a bigger movement. It's not about Pocketalk. It's about communication. It's about inclusion. It's about making sure that people feel welcome in your organization. So we're giving we give out little decals that you can put on your wall that says all spoken here, and hoping that becomes more of a understanding for somebody who comes into your organization to say, okay, I know somebody will be able to communicate with me here.
Yes.
This is the place I want to go to because there's somebody here who has the help they need to communicate with me. So,
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. I'm thinking about all of the families that I tried to communicate with, and the stress that put on me as a teacher. And I wish that I had Pocketalk,
Oh, absolutely. Like I said at the beginning, we just try to take on so much as educators, and this just can't be one of them. I think there's just so much need there, but you already have too much going on. so look at Pocketalk. We can help. We can make it much less stressful.
Yes. So Arturo, where can teachers learn more about Pocketalk?
So yeah, absolutely. Well, if you're at FETC, well, I know this won't necessarily be at FETC, but we're in the exhibit hall. But beyond that, Pocketalk.com is our website. You can always go there. We have a section just specifically for education. You'll find my contact information there as well. I'm always available for you. I'm the K-12 director of partnerships. So I'm all over the country working with schools and working with educators to make sure that that we can make their journey a little bit easier.
Awesome. So I'm going to put all the links down in the show notes, because if somebody's riding in the car, we don't want them to pull over and Pocketalk it. But we will put those in the show notes. That way they can go grab those, learn more, and reach out to you, hopefully to get that on board.
Yeah.
Thank you again for being a part of this. This was
Absolutely.
wonderful.
Thank you, Brittany. Appreciate it.